Here's our plan with the implementation phase still blank. Now, when we've gone through the research and design phases in the previous chapters, we've already agreed the first 3 or 4 features. So step 1 is to add those priority features in. It's likely that the developers won't just be working on our user-facing features, but we're not concerned with listing all of the things the developers are doing here. This is a user-centered design plan, not an overall plan for the project. So we're just going to put in the features that are concerned with user interfaces and our designs. The next step is to scan our plan for trouble spots and try to tackle them up front. Let's have a look at this section where the designer is on holiday for a week. Now, it's all very well for me as a designer to decide that I want to look at accessibility and make tweaks from user research, but have I had the conversation with the development and testing team that I'm dependent on? Do they think that it will fit into 2 weeks of their time? If the answer is yes, then fine, but if not, we'll have to add 1 or more features into our previous research and design iterations so that we've got enough design in our back pocket to compensate for that week off. That might mean squeezing my earlier timescales, and that might have a knock-on effect on the quality of the design work that gets handed over. Now we've got as much forward planning completed as I would expect to get done in the first few weeks of a project, so it's fine to leave the rest of the plan blank. But don't forget to check often that that picture is still true. You might have a daily stand-up with the team or a regular meeting with your product manager, and making sure that your deliverables are still aligned with everybody else's is something that an experienced designer learns the hard way to do. So remember that this plan is about visibility, and if you keep it up to date, it'll make those sneaky changes in other people's areas much easier to spot. There's one more activity that I want to show you in this chapter that I found really helps me make sure that we're delivering quality designs right from the first feature. So let's zoom in on Thursday in week 10 in our plan. This is an important date because it's a show and tell meeting where people from the outside of the team are going to see a developed feature for the first time. In an ideal world, there's a close collaboration between the designers and the developers, and they're checking in constantly, maybe sitting next to each other and asking questions. But in our plan, I'm working with a new team that I don't know and they don't know me. So at least one day before, I'm going to schedule a pre-show and tell between the designer and the developers and maybe a business analyst so that we can see what we're getting. And yes, I know that that's what the show and tell is, but this is for really, really small stuff. You want to make sure that when you hand over a design, you don't throw it over a fence. You hold on to it and you never let go until you're sure that that design has been implemented the way that you've designed it. This is the design that I handed over. And I also sent across the company style guide, which holds all the details for fonts and colours and alignment. The bits in pink are where I need to do further user testing before finalising the design, so we can ignore how they look. Everything else I'm expecting to be as per designs. Now, let's play a game of spot the difference. First thing that I see, the name's back to front. Probably because this comes in through the data feed and the developers haven't realised that they need to switch it around. There's a space between the E and the male. Okay, so there's a capital here and here that I didn't ask for. There's a full stop here that isn't there, and one here that is there and shouldn't be. Okay, the name's switched around again. Email's fine. Everything else, no. The back button is in the wrong place. Can you see that it's aligned to the bottom and I've got it aligned to the centre? Okay, none of this is something that I would want to raise in a meeting outside of my team, which is why I'm scheduling a review for before that happens. And I want to say here, I'm not making a statement about developers and defects because goodness knows I do not code. This is about helping designers to plan for success and incorporate quality checks into our process. The further you get into the project, the less you'll need this meeting, because you'll be working more effectively as a team. On the project that this example is based on, we started out with a meeting every 2 weeks, but after a couple of months we turned it into a daily call. So I'd open up the call at 9 a.m. and any developer was free to join. So you're aiming to create an environment where design and business and development can talk freely and with respect, but without blame. If you don't have that at the beginning of your project, put a formal design review meeting into your plan, and then you can relax it later when you've all chilled out with each other. So to review, we've looked at ways to give visibility of what we're doing by adding priority features into our plan. We've used that big picture to proactively tackle our trouble spots, and the detail of the picture to look for change in development priorities, and added some particular design and development activities to check the quality of the designs as we go along. And that's it, we've covered all the major concepts in our plan. Congratulations, you're ready to get up and running. The next chapters are about how you can adapt the plan to different circumstances, starting with what to do if you're squeezed on time. So I'll see you in the next chapter.